Finish that one off, we're gonna start the school board meeting. Let's start with the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Colleen, can you hear us? Oh, perfect. Okay, so Colleen is going to be calling in. She's out of state. So when you come up to speak, speak very loudly so she can hear, and she will try to speak loudly as well. All right, we're going to do approval of the minutes. We have September 15th and September 19th.
Savannah, none of us can hear you back here.
Yeah, sorry.
I will try to yell. I do have a voice that carries pretty well.
All right, perfect.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. I did have a couple of questions on the minutes. So on the one from September 15th, I know I missed it. I did notice under new business F, the consideration and possible action to approve the 25-26 bus driver certificates for OPI. We did not have the votes on there, and I don't know if we also needed to have the names of the drivers that we approved. But the votes for sure should be on there. Perfect, thank you. And then on the special meeting, it said it was adjourned at 5:52. I think it was 5:02. It was a really quick meeting. Did anyone else have any comments on the minutes?
Robert,
Yes.
Monica, Robert, or Monica?
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Lana,
Yes. Okay. So this is public participation on non-agenda items. I'm so glad you're here. Just a little pre-planning for this. If you're gonna come up and speak, come to the podium, state your name. We want people on the camera to also hear and see you. If what you're going to talk about is on an agenda item, I ask that you hold it for that. If you share during a agenda item, we as the board cannot participate with you. If you get up and start speaking and it sounds like it's attached to an agenda item, I'm going to stop you, not because we don't want to hear you, but because we want to engage with you. Again, when we talk in non-agenda items, we can't talk about people, positions, that kind of thing, so keep that in mind. Okay, do we have any public comment?
Yes.
Please come up to the podium, state your name.
Hi, my name is Danny Owens. I am asking about the Skills USA program. Word through the grapevine is that it's going to no longer be at Plains, and there's some students and teachers, or sorry, parents and students that are really interested in seeing this continue on.
Thank you. Anyone else? To the podium?
Lisa Brown, I work here at Plains, I'm a math teacher. I also am wondering why skills isn't on the agenda. We're missing out on conferences already, so we're shortchanging our kids. And I have granddaughters involved. It's a great program for these kids. I don't know why we're kicking this can down the road, but it's driving me crazy. I wanna see the kids actively involved in the leadership conference and everything else.
Anyone else on an agenda item?
My name's Kyle Mitchell. I am a teacher here. I'm a parent here. I'm a taxpayer here. I want to read a letter from an ex-student of mine wrote. To a main concern, Skills USA has changed my life in so many ways, and a big part of it, and it's a big part of the person I am today. Without Skills USA, I can confidently say I would not be going to Gallatin College right now because I wouldn't have ever heard of it. I was in multiple extracurriculars in high school. Skills USA gave me the most direction for my future. more than any other required class, sport, NHS, and student council combined. Going to Skills USA Leadership Conference helped build up my confidence and public speaking skills and explore out of my comfort zone. Before joining Skills USA, I would have never gone up to anyone or let anyone tell me or tell them something about myself. During the leadership conference, I would have to go up to every single person and give the reason in the room and give them my elevator speech. Skills USA also taught me a lot about leadership and teamwork. It was the first organization I was a leader in, and being vice president, to learn how to manage other people's time, my time, plan trips, work on others, and delegate. I hope that the school will continue Skills USA so that it can teach other students the invaluable lessons taught to me. Sincerely, Peyton Walker. As a teacher and last year's Skills USA advisor, daily I have kids come up to me and saying, Mr. Mitchell, is Skills USA going to start up? Mr. Mitchell, when is it going to start up? Up until today, I didn't hear anything. Up until about like an hour ago, no one even talked to me about what was going on with it. Our students deserve to have an answer whether there's going to be a Skills USA or not, both in high school and junior high. The junior high position has been vacant since the start of school, and it hasn't even been posted yet. So, by now, the club should have elected officers. They should start planning community service projects and fundraising opportunities. Our students are missing out on opportunities such as fall leadership conference. By now, the students should be starting working on projects and preparing for competition. The longer it takes to make a decision on Skills USA, the more opportunities the students are missing out on, and the less likely they are to be successful in the competition. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else on participation on non-agenda items? State your name.
Hi, I'm Gina Ferlin. I teach in the elementary school. First, I might have a comment. There's quite often, if you sit back there, you cannot hear. It's been a problem for years and years. And we have a great tech guy, and I'm sure he could set up some speakers that could be projected back there with a mic up here. I think that might be a good recommendation for the future. Because I know I've been sitting back there and you can't hear anything. I have a lot of my things I think I will have to address later. I see that you're hiring people tonight. I'm so excited about that. So I'll talk about it then, because you said talk at line item spots. No, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I was gonna say I love that we had the board members come, and you mentioned at the last minute that that we had the 2 school board members come, and I thought that was fabulous. And I've had other ones who come and volunteered, so I think that's great. I had another thought that maybe I talked to them specifically, but we are always short on subs. I thought maybe when they weren't working, I don't know if it's allowed to have school board members volunteer as substitutes, but I know we're in a pinch sometimes.
We looked into that.
Okay.
Colleen had asked.
And then one other thing I thought, we always have people we always make comments here, ask questions, but you can't answer, because that's just part of the routine, which is really frustrating for you guys and for the audience. I thought if we could always have a spot where, I know you can't answer them tonight, but for the next school board meeting, compile all the questions and answer all the questions at the next school board meeting, at least the ones that you can answer, and some sort of response. I think that would help everyone. So I think we ask these questions, they kind of float around and they disappear or get answered, and the people might not be at the next meeting to hear the right answer. So just another thought, and then I'll hold the rest of my comments down at the bottom. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gina.
Hello, my name is Ken Nelson. I'm a teacher and parent here, and I don't know if you've heard about how great Skills is, but as the parent of a young man who's probably going to enter forestry or the trades, I see it as an integral part of his education. And I am also here asking that we can put this right there on that front burner, so that these kids can get competing and getting the awards, the training, the opportunities that we all so desperately want them to have.
Go.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Arlene Corbin. I'm a junior here at Plains, and I also happen to be a state officer for Skills USA. And something that has me and my state advisor are really worried is me not having a chapter, because me not having a chapter means I have to look at other ways to still be a state officer and still being skills. And it has me and my mom worrying as well, because it's not only limiting my options for what I want to do, it's limiting other people who want to do the same thing I do. Because I've talked to many other people who are sophomores and juniors who are looking into wanting to run as a state officer, and for them not even to get the chance or even to do skills. Like, I've heard seniors this year be like, I want to do skills, but I have no idea if we're doing it. And they'll come to me and go, are we doing skills? I have no idea. And I hate answering, I have no idea. Because I get the opportunities as a state officer to go do things that the rest of the school can't, because we don't know if we have a chapter. Like, earlier last month, I went to DC for a national leadership conference in Washington, and I got the National Statesman Award for it, like many other people who did go there. But just for me to be the only one to get opportunities like that, to go to certain leadership conferences because I'm the only one that can go, just kind of seems unfair. And I want other people to be able to go to the other conferences, especially because of our conferences. Me and the other state officers, we spend our whole time just working on it, and then for people not to be able to sign up, like our last one, I had to cancel my prearrange because people didn't sign up enough in time because they didn't have their chapters ready. So we lost one of our leadership conferences, and now we have this long time until our next one, and we have no idea if anyone's even going to sign up for that one. So it just kind of sucks.
Hi, I'm Joel Collett, and I'm also here to talk about Skills USA. I wanted to highlight two aspects. One is both the high school and the junior high. And so, just to be clear, we're already really behind the eight ball on this, as you guys have seen. There's a lot of missed opportunities. Both of my daughters have done it in high school and junior high, and in August we celebrated the success of the junior high, first year of junior high. And to my knowledge, the job opening hasn't been posted yet to fill that. So what that looks like from my perspective is you guys have decided to quietly cancel the junior high program. Because if you don't approve someone until the next board meeting, it's too late. And so that seems purposeful. I don't know if it was. With 20 fingers, but it sure was that. So I would encourage you guys to do a special meeting within the next 7 days and get that remedied. I think that's important. I think something that shouldn't be ignored is the fact that I know my daughter from last year in junior high already has a college scholarship waiting for her. How many opportunities in Plains, Montana do junior high kids have to have college scholarships based on a program that is wildly successful? So I just want to point out that not only do we need to focus on remedying the issues with getting someone in high school who cannot wait another month to have someone in junior high for the community. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Mariah Corbin, and Skills USA is near and dear to my heart. As a mother of a state officer and a granddaughter of a former teacher that taught this, I would ask, I'm asking the board, do you know what goes into skills and to compete? Skills US program included local, regional, state, and national competitions. During the annual national level Skills USA championships, more than 6,000 students competed in 114 on-hand skills and leadership contests. Skills USA competitors develop emphasis on learning and a sense of accomplishment by by recognizing students' skills and abilities. The competitions promote professional development and appreciation of quality job skills. The events also sustain public and specific students' interest in careers and technical training. Skills have given my child many opportunities. One of which was to go to Washington for the Washington Leadership Training. This is the first time Montana has sent a group to this conference. Not only was she one of the first Montana students to go, but she was one of the first females to go. While in DC, she received the WLTL Statesman Award, and she also received the Montana Statesman Awards, which is the highest honor awarded at the state level. I encourage the board to seriously consider making sure Skills continues to happen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kyla Benu, and I'm one of the people that have done Skills USA in the past. I did it as an 8th grader, which was the first year that they did a junior high sports, or junior high Skills USA organization. Even as a junior high person, it was still such a fun experience. I know it's not everything the high school got. They got to go to all the conferences. We just got to go to state, and we made it to nationals. We actually junior high brought back the first medal at nationals ever in Plains history. We brought back 3rd in team engineering, and it was a huge accomplishment for Plains. And to kind of end that would seem so sad after we got something so huge. We also brought 11 people to nationals last year, 2 high schoolers and 9 junior high kids. So that was also huge considering last year, or the year before, we only brought 3 people. Skills is such an amazing program because you can meet so many different people. Even if you only go to state and you don't go to nationals, you still learn so many different things about all the people from different cities and towns from Montana. And you don't really see that, especially in such a small town. And I was one of the lucky ones that got to go to nationals in Georgia, Atlanta. So that was an amazing experience. I got to meet so many different people from across the country. I actually competed against someone from Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Alaska, Virgin Islands. So people that had to fly across the ocean to get here, and I feel like taking that away would be so sad, even because all those kids, even though some of them went home without a medal, they all came back with such great experiences.
Hello, my name is Brian Lacko, and I am a student here at Plains High School in my freshman year. I just so happen to be one of those students that keep nagging Mr. Mitchell. Hey, Mr. Mitchell, when's Skills USA gonna start up? Are we gonna even have a team this year? But I am so thankful for being able to be in Skills USA last year. I did 3 different events, team engineering challenge, prepared speech, and the official opening and closing ceremonies of Skills USA. And I had to work so hard, cause, there's no little event for junior high to practice, but you just had to go up to state and compete and see if you placed. And so I know for team engineering, I had Gary Rabine and Clinton Wiedemann as my partners, and I know they worked and put in the work, and we were able to learn so much and actually apply the stuff that we were learning in school to real life situations. And I'm very thankful for that. I was able to place first in all 3 of my events at state. So all that hard work paid off, and I was able to go and compete at the national level. So I was able as an 8th grader, which just seems absolutely crazy for me to even think about, from Plains, Montana to go and fly all the way to Atlanta, Georgia to compete at a national level against kids across all 50 states and also 2 different areas, which were Puerto Rico and, I'm sorry, but I don't remember the other. And the Virgin Islands. Anyways, we were able to go to nationals and compete in the team engineering challenge, which was one of the tougher ones because you had to be there for all the competition days, and you had to be there for like 4 hours every day and just work. And it was crazy because we just worked so much, and all that work paid off because we placed 3rd at nationals. And I was able to get so much stuff, so much experience, so much. I even got a $2,000 scholarship as an 8th grader. And we just getting up on that big stage in front of thousands of people, wearing my 3rd place medal, knowing that all that hard work finally paid off was amazing. And I'm very, very looking forward to and hoping that you guys can approve and we can get a Skills USA team going this year.
So I'm here to represent Skills USA as well. I graduated last year, and Skills USA has helped me in a lot of different ways that school wasn't able to help me with. It's helped me with job opportunities, it's helped me with scholarships, and it's helped me with my own education. And I really advise you guys to get the ball rolling on this so we don't have other students missing out on their opportunities. Thank you.
I just also asked to put together some thoughts. I am an employee at the school district, but I'm not going to talk to you guys tonight as an employee, but rather as a mother. 2 of my sons who just spoke, Brian and Caleb, have participated in Skills USA very different capacities in their own competitions. And if you know my 2 sons, it should make you smile because they are very different. Caleb, who graduated last year, he was never a child who could ever sit still. He did not fit sitting in a desk for long hours, even when he was little. His birthday requests were, I want a computer, an old computer that I can take apart and back together again. One birthday request was, Dad, take me out to the garage and show me how to work all of his tools. Has a hard time sitting through family movie night. There's a blessing in that because he's not the kid I always have to be like, get off your video games. It was driving torture to sit hours and hours and hours. Although I will say this, he, in the last couple years of his high school experience, he underwent 3 surgeries that did put him to where it took away a lot of the things that he loved to do. And he was forced to sit, he was kind of forced to find a love for other extracurriculars that did not include hunting, fishing, horn hunting. And those were difficult times for him. And as a mother, I watched Mr. Mitchell, I watched Skills USA, his responsibilities with Skills USA that kept him sane. And it filled him with purpose.
I'm not referring to only the responsibilities as a state officer, the chapter president. I'm talking about the opportunities that were created for him because people in the community knew that he was in Skills USA and that he had skill sets that could benefit them, and that gave him purpose. I saw him repair small engines, sharpen chains, weld signs, and use technical and hands-on knowledge that he learned because of Skills USA that gave him purpose in a very difficult chapter of his life. Caleb was afforded opportunities to give back with education to many of the same people who supported him to continue that education. These are full circle moments as a mother. That's what you would hope for any child, to use their education to not only improve their life, but to improve the lives of others. My other son is Brian. He participated in Skills USA for his first time last year. He served as a junior high president and experienced a very successful year. He took first at state in all of his chosen events and even was awarded a Distinguished Award for Exceptional Character. When it came time to choose what he was going to do at nationals, it seemed pretty easy for him. He was doing team engineering. Brian is similar to Caleb in the regard that he enjoys the building, but more so he loves the math, and he loves to sit with a challenge until he finds the best solution. He has always been drawn to sciences and math, and he really, truly enjoys STEM. And it has been fun watching him and his older brother create some interesting designs, creations in our home shop, and even their $1 million futuristic invention ideas. Brian is now a freshman and has visited a couple of his cousins at university and is very much interested in future engineering. He has time to explore, and Skills USA was a program that last year helped him discover and learn some things about his own personal aptitudes, strengths, and areas for growth. We would hate to see this program go to the wayside due to, I'm not entirely sure why. As a parent, I share some points of view in regards to the two of my sons as an illustrative example of how Skills USA offers many learning opportunities for a wide variety of students who have a variety of postgraduate interests. With that said, something that is incredibly important to me is that in raising my children and whatever their strengths and whatever their interests, that I will help them foster and explore, but never in a way that they are entitled. Skills USA has been a gift to me as a parent, as it has reinforced the fundamental teaching that we work for what we earn, and we recognize the people who make it happen, like Mr. Mitchell, Trista Feist, Joel and Wendy Pollitt, and other community members and businesses who are directly investing in these students and their futures. I have seen my sons choose to utilize their education that they have gleaned from Skills USA to not only be educated and have skills, but to be the best version of themselves. Choosing to use skills from shop classes in Skills USA by doing small home repairs, engine repairs, repairing chainsaws and swathers for community members going through rough patches without payment. I have seen them do similar projects for payment to go directly to the Skills USA team. I have seen them use their education to simply help to reach a goal and to improve their life and the lives of those around them. I have seen their peers do the same. Like I said earlier, these are full circle moments that I want for my kids, and I want it for all kids. To recognize, and more importantly, to be grateful for all that is afforded to them, and to have firsthand opportunities that an education, a skill set, and a strong work ethic will make not only their world a better place, but the world as a whole will be a better place. I have found that Mr. Mitchell has built that kind of a program here as kids choose to do that and participate fully in Skills USA. There's so much to learn and a wide variety of offerings to support kids here and also after high school. And that's all I have to say, and I appreciate you guys listening to me.
I want to make sure we are very respectful of everybody's time here. Try to keep your comments limited to about 3 minutes. We're about a half an hour in and we have a big agenda, so let's just be mindful of all of our time so we can get through everything in an appropriate amount of time. So at some point we do have to end our board meeting. Any more Comments on non-agenda items? Okay, we'll move on. Reports, superintendent.
Good evening. We continue to work with Harmony to establish guidelines for our students and the district that the district finds acceptable to the standards of defining what do we accept as a Plains High School district or as a district. We're defining, after the last legislative meeting, excuse me, the policy was changed a bit to reflect that remote instruction was limited for out-of-district students. An out-of-district student may participate in remote instruction as long as the student is physically attending a school or off-site instructional setting with the district and is enrolled under an out-of-district agreement. Right now, we're working that. We're in conversation with OPI and Harmony, and we work on it. The principals and I work on it every week. We meet to just make sure we have it well-defined. I'm talking with legal to make sure that the children that we accept, we get the A and B money for, and the children that are in the program get the credit that is needed for them to move ahead academically. On Saturday, the 18th, our district was busy participating in a number of community engagement activities. Our maintenance department conducted an obsolete surplus equipment sale, and if you were some of the lucky bidders, you got to take home some unique things. I won't say obsolete. And in the library, we had a warm clothing and giveaway made possible with a grant from Operation Warm Coat and individual donations. The Circle was one of the groups that generously supported the programs. Also, a great number of warm weather clothing that was here that previously, before that day, community members and churches and groups had donated to our school, and we thought it well to give it out as much as we can. We had about 100 plus coats. We gave out about 34 coats with children and adults, and they were given a new home, and dozens of hats and gloves and scarves. And we had about 6 of the people, some of you in the audience now, who came out and helped us. And if you could see the look on the face of the fathers who brought their children and fitted them out with coats and hats, and seeing dads do that was beautiful. And the moms that came and said, no, I don't need anything, and it was just a wonderful thing. That was worth it. We were here from 10 to 2. We hope to do it again, possibly November 8th, but we will put that out so everyone can. And please encourage them. Someone said, oh, it's junk. It's not junk. 90% of the things, they were all new coats. One little girl said, look, I took the tag off it. So it was a great day, and those of you who are out there who helped, thank you so much for that. Also in the library, there was a presentation by the Amateur Ham Radio Group, and they're interested in getting some of our young people interested in this as an art and just know how to use it. Mr. Meredith and I have been in conversation of possibly looking at it for 3, 4, 5, 6, seeing if we can get them to come and do a presentation and garner some interest, because the group would like to have a club. It wouldn't cost the district anything. They would run the club on ham radio operations. And just another skill set, something else that young people might be interested in, but we won't know until we reach out and try. As we continue to evaluate and strengthen the school safety plan, we've put into place a number of upcoming sessions and planning in order to educate staff, families, students, and practices and protocols necessary. We have last year legislative, not expected, they put out that we had to have a threat assessment team established, and we did that in the spring. Dr. Fettinger she chairs that, principals are on it, special education teachers are on it, counselors are on it, law enforcement members are on it, and these are things that we follow to see what is the role of a threat assessment team. Let me say that. It's to identify, evaluate, and address threats or possible potential threats. A number of the members, teachers, administrators have gone to Missoula on 2 occasions to attend training on this, because it's a mandatory thing, and we do meet monthly. And staff will be apprised of the laws, and we're going to be doing this en masse, okay? We're going to have a big setup where teachers, community members, moms, dads, everybody comes, and we learn how to address situations in a very, very important manner, because some of the things we're dealing with are confidentiality issues. Some of the things we're dealing with are that kids, in the past have joked about things that are no longer jokes. And sometimes things get past us, and we're not correcting kids, and they think it's okay. So we have to re-educate ourselves. We have to also identify kids who are going through troubled times. What are the triggers? How can we identify? Teachers can't do everything. but if they can just help us identify that we can come in and support our children, support our parents and guardians as well. We're working with OPI, working with MSU's Safe School Center, and it'll be an ongoing process where we continue, because there's no one answer. Mr. Meredith and I talked about that yesterday, and we said no matter how much we say, we have it, you never know. So we're gonna be hopefully, we're going to be compensating for any and every area of safety we can. Presently, you'll see doors in the front, and they've been there a bit. We've had to retrofit this building, and it wasn't as quick and easy, but the locks will be coming. Russell has promised that, and we have a protocol. And with the input of law enforcement, the protocol for entry into the building. So by November, once the board, and we'll talk about it for everyone in the November meeting, once the board sees that and understands it and approves it, we're gonna be, how do we enter into our building? So you might say to me, okay, that's really nice for this front, but what about over there? Where the kids come and go and get in and out and in and out? Well, that's gonna be, the upgrade of that will include a fencing around that area, the rear door of the gym lobby and the shop entrance. This will secure that area during school hours. The fence will surround a few parking spots, so where we can use that area to store school vehicles. And when the fence is finished, the front door of that gym will remain locked during school hours. This will help to ensure that students can get in to their classes within a safe environment. There'll also be panic bars so they can get out in the event of an emergency situation. Again, it's something that we've taken very seriously. I've been told by people that we have a very good and comprehensive threat assessment team. When you have teachers and administrators and law enforcement and people who care about the kids at the table and they're experts in their field, we are very sure that all the areas we need to cover. It's a terrible thing to deal with, it's a terrible thing to think of, but we do take it very seriously. I have 2 resignations to report to the school board. Tonight, Melissa Moe, a junior high school girl basketball coach, and Casey Hart, an assistant cook. I want to thank you for the time they spent and the contributions they've made to our school.
Thank you. Kevin?
Can I speak on one subject? Erica, lawyer. I'm just speaking to the superintendent's report regarding Harmony, and I think I brought this up during the public forum that you had about this. You as a board have to decide who walks at graduation, and you as a board just have to decide what qualifies a valedictorian and salutatorian. And I think I reminded the board members who were here for that. There's serious money involved in that valedictorian designation if you're going to an in-state school. And there are 3 highly competitive girls in that junior class who are tied for valedictorian right now. So I hope that there's no rug pulled out from under. Whatever you decide, I hope everybody knows up front, if you have a 3rd track Harmony student who's going to get a diploma from Plains High School, which is cool, great, awesome, let's have that delineated as to where their GPA falls into these 3 gals who've been going to school, some of them taking 2 college courses throughout the junior and senior year. So I hope that's on your radar for consideration, and that you can give those 3 highly competitive girls an answer before their senior year and their graduation. And I'm looking at you because you have raised one of them too. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. Thank you. There it is.
Ms. Murray?
I placed a newsletter in front of you guys. You want to take a look at it? I believe you probably get it on the portal. Whenever we send our newsletters out, really, unless I forget, whenever we send any sort of message out on the Infinite Campus portal, I always try to, there's a spot where you can customize some emails that it goes out to, and I always try to do with 5 board members, so I'm assuming you are getting these. A couple things on the newsletter. We had homecoming this month. While that's a big deal in the high school, it's also a really big deal in the elementary, and it's always a lot of fun. Sometimes I think their costumes are more creative than our teenagers. The dress-up days were a little bit different just for the purposes of maturity and understanding of what they're dressing up for. But it was a really great week, and it's always a lot of fun to celebrate our homecoming week as a K-12 district. And Mr. Nelson does a really nice job of putting together the high school activities with the bonfire and the Olympics, and so we're thankful to be able to still do those things. Trunk or Treat is coming up at the end of this month.
and that'll be on Halloween Day. And one of the things that I am looking forward to, and I know a lot of our staff is looking forward to, is we have had a large, and Catherine's been the one that's been receiving these phone calls, so she knows more than me, just on this, right, Catherine? Catherine knows more than me, the amount of folks that are coming, but this trunk or treat event is really neat. All of our students get to go around and be seen by our community, and our community gets to interact with our students, and they don't get to on a regular basis. I think sometimes we take it for granted that we get to be around 400 kids all day long. So that's a lot of fun, and we've had such a overwhelming response that we will have that parking lot every week full, and will not require a lot of heavy lifting by a lot of our staff, so they can focus on managing our students. Looking forward to that. So thank you for all the community members and organizations that help with that. Quarter one is coming to an end this Friday, and so we will be sending report cards out soon. And with that, at the end of the first quarter, there's always parent-teacher conferences, and those will be November 4th and 6th. And in the elementary, we schedule all of those, so elementary parents will get those in the mail with their designated time and date, and we try to coordinate that with all of the different students and siblings, and so that it is as seamless as possible. But I always try to encourage parents that if we schedule a night that doesn't work for them, to just let us know so that we can reschedule and make it work. A couple of things that have come up here this month, just kind of some things that are always required. The MAST testing, that's our new state testing. Used to be called the Smarter Balance testing. You've probably heard that a few times. But last year we transitioned to the MAST testing. That was all the schools in the state of Montana that did that, and we did as well. And that is that's a series of many more tests. They take tests in the fall, they take tests in the winter, and they take tests in the spring. There's a certain window on the calendar that we have to get all of those tests done. They're done on the computers, on their Chromebooks, and that opened a week ago. A week ago it was open, and so we have started that. One of the things that we have learned, Dr. Walsh just spoke with you guys a little bit about the Harmony program, is if we have students that are enrolled in the Harmony program and they are enrolled as full-time students, we do have to test those students. So that's going to be interesting. That'll be different for us this year. We're going to have to contact those families and invite them in and find a way to complete the MAST test. Our A and B numbers were submitted here just recently in the Infinite Campus program, and if that verbiage is ringing a bell, A and B basically is the numbers that we submit to the state that designate the amount of funding that we will get per pupil. So there's two counts, one in the fall, one in the spring, and we just went through the October count. So it was a little bit more of a challenge this year, I will tell you that, between the extracurricular participation of homeschool students, our Harmony student participation, and then our face-to-face students. But I feel like we got to a good place, and we're able to get it submitted. Let's see, with that being said, October is the month of turning things into OPI. I think we also have what's called the child count, which is we have to verify all of the students within our district that are students who have IEPs, individualized education plans, and so we submit that to OPI to verify how many we get. It does have an impact on our special education funding, so we want to make sure that it's kind of like the A and B report, but it's smaller. We always just want to make sure that report is correct. So that is due next week, and I've been working on it the last week and a half, and hopefully we'll have that verified by the end of next week. And the last thing I just wanted to report on is I wanted to say thank you to our substitutes and our substitute roster for the folks that have been helping us out through the beginning of this year as we look to staff some of the open positions that we have had. Catherine has done an exceptional job of call it the substitute shuffle, and that's what she has done a really good job of doing, and thankful for all of the substitutes and subs that have helped us out. So thank you.
All right. Kevin nailed it on homecoming. It was a very successful week, a lot of fun. We had, anything but a backpack day, and we had some very creative students bring some very interesting items to school that day, so it was fun. Had motorcycles in the hallways, and it was a good time. So homecoming was a huge success. Fall sports are winding down. We finished our junior high sports. Football went out with a bang, so we have our last home volleyball game tomorrow. Senior night, it'll be a good game against Hot Springs. On October 28th, the Montana Repertory Theater will be here to do a performance called Jabber Doggy. And other nonsense words, it's what it's called. It'll discuss themes of like healing and storytelling and courage. So it should be a pretty good performance. They usually put on a good performance. On November 14th, Shakespeare in the Schools will be here performing Richard III. So we have 2 theater performances coming up. On November 4th, there's a blood drive. And then October 24th, like Mr. Meredith mentioned, is the end of the quarter. So parent-teacher conferences are the 4th and 6th. November 4th is also the Ronan Music Festival. So this year we are taking our high school band, and we have a couple junior high kids that'll probably go with the high school band. So that'll be a good opportunity for them. Hopefully we'll be able to keep our music program for the rest of the school year. We have had several drills. Dr. Walsh talked about some of our safety drills. We had a bus drill last Wednesday. So all the students, whether they ride a school bus or not, went out, loaded on the school buses, heard the spiel from the bus drivers, and then got off in case of an emergency. We had a accidental fire drill, but it was a good practice because nobody was prepared, and that's the way fire drills happen. So everybody exited the building, and it was well done. Our lockdown drill went well, so I think those were all pretty successful. And I think that's about all. So I was asked by Russell to give a brief update on the auction. Dr. Walshman mentioned it a little bit ago. He said that they had more than a dozen people win bids on more than 30 items. They sold old maintenance equipment, 2 mowers and a truck, shop equipment, welding equipment, lathes, sanding tables, 3D printers, a kiln, furniture, and kitchen equipment. So they got rid of a lot of stuff that we are no longer using. So that's it.
And we don't have the athletic director tonight, I see that.
Yeah, he's not feeling well.
I
Larry
have
Joe.
a question. Come up and state your name.
Yeah, I
Yes.
will.
Perfect.
Danielle Steer Nelson. You guys had a fire drill, 2 fire drills, right? I had a son in the high school. He was in art class, which is in the new gym. And come to find out, that fire drill did not go off. And again, last week, there was another fire drill. And again, it did not go off. So tell me, I am a mother, so tell me what kind of things are you gonna do to keep them safe? Are you gonna change that fire drill to make it work? And what about this active shooter training? Have you? Because my sister is a teacher in Illinois, and she is baffled to know that we have never had one of those. And those fences that you want to put up, you lock the kids inside. How are they going to get out? The new windows you put in, are they bulletproof? And the school doors, you were talking that they were going to be bolted shut or whatever. I want to know what you have planned for these active shooter drills. Because you know what? I am also a wife to a teacher. So if we have anything going on, my whole family would be wiped out. And you guys have not told us how you plan to do these fire drills or these active shooting drills or any of that. So yes, I am a little mad. And I'm sorry, the school should have known that that fire drill, that drill was not working in that new building. So can you tell me what you have planned for an active shooter drill?
We can't at this time, but thank you so much for your concern.
Will you tell me next time?
And I'm really glad to know that we have identified that that alarm did not work down there. I think
Okay,
that
so
was
next
also-
time, if I come to this meeting, are you gonna tell me what you have scheduled for the active shooting drill?
I'm not sure, I'll have to get back to him.
Can I speak about something real quick for Russell's maintenance point of view?
Hold on,
We're so far off right now, I mean, that you're allowing people to comment on things that are
Not on the
subject
agenda.
to public comment, so.
And
Okay.
didn't you just comment on
Hold
the
on.
safety drill?
Hold on, this is our legal
Yeah,
representation.
you, I mean,
so
we're already so far outside of the law here.
Thank you.
I think what, their interesting point, I think what you'd say is that either someone from the administration will get back to you, or the board will have an agenda item, it's their discretion what goes on the agenda. You can't answer questions during public comment.
I grant it, but I think that should be on the next agenda.
You can,
Period.
well, that, you're basically asking for it, so it's up to the board chair in consultation with the superintendent what goes on the agenda, but I think they can accept this as a request of you.
Yeah, well, I think it's a very serious thing to put on.
So can I ask you a question real quick? When they're giving the reports, when public comment wants to come up and speak, are they allowed to their report or not legally?
No, not
Okay.
legal. So
We won't do
public
that
has to-
anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna follow the law specifically. The
Yeah.
public has the right to comment before the board makes a decision on a substantive issue. So anything the board is not voting on is not subject to public comment.
Okay, so I apologize, again, have some grace, we're all still learning. When we're doing reports, you will not be allowed to come up and speak, that is outside of the law, okay? Okay, everyone has heard that. Did everyone hear that back there? Did I say it loud enough? Thank you, Jesse, I appreciate this, okay. Let's continue on. Larry Jo, Food Services. I did see her, come on up to the podium.
You have to speak loud.
Yeah, speak loud, because there's a lot of people out there who won't be able to hear you.
Larry Jo Evans, Food Service Director. I put that monthly financial report as far as, my numbers go in your packet. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I saw it. I don't have any questions.
Oh, no questions, okay, yes, we did see it. Is there anything you wanna highlight from the report that you gave us for the public?
Nope, I just wanna keep you updated and, where we're at each month. We did, finally complete the freezer, inventory, and got that submitted to the insurance.
Actually, I do have a question. Did the equipment get fixed that was needing?
Still working on it. The oven did get fixed and we're, troubleshooting the steam pot,
And what's the holdup on that?
we're just troubleshooting it, it's not, getting as hot as it should, so we're working on getting somebody back to look at it. But the oven did get fixed.
Okay, on to financial reports, we're going to approve the bills and warrants.
I move that we approve the bills and warrants.
I'll second.
Any comments or concerns on the bills or warrants? Colleen, are you still there? Yeah. Okay, did you have any comments, questions about the bills and warrants? No.
Monica?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay, monthly budget report, October. Is this you, Gwen?
Yep.
Yep.
Any questions? So the monthly budget report will be provided to the board on a monthly basis. Maren, your new business manager, helped prepare this. And basically it shows you what the budget is, what the expenditures are to date, and what the balance is. And we know that we've got some financial challenges and that we have to live within our means. And so being able to see this report on a monthly basis keeps us on track. The farthest right column shows the percentage of the year that's remaining, and so about 67% of the year is remaining. And then below that, it shows each of the funds and how much of the budget authority is remaining, and so far we're ahead pretty much across the board. So we'll just continue to provide this so that we can stay on top of your budget authority and how your expenditures are proceeding, so that we, achieve the goal of living within your means this year. So you'll see that each month. The other two items that were included in the board packet, one was line item details from last year's funds for all the funds other than the general fund. At the previous board meeting, I provided all of the detail for the general fund, and one of the board members specifically requested that same report across all of the other funds, transportation and adult ed and traffic ed. So that's what that report is about. And then finally, the information on accounting codes, because when you look at your bills and warrants and you approve them, there are codes associated with all of those expenditures. And Colleen thought maybe understanding what the codes mean might help to translate the expenditures or explain the expenditures. So that, again, is just information provided for the board, should you be interested. So, questions on any of those three documents? Okay. You'll get used to seeing this one. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, we're going to take a 3-minute recess, and then we'll come back to unfinished business.
So there's farmers that might have to where might take everything to do what is great, great if it gets rained on, or whatever, take that to kind of complement. It's good. It's really good. The good is
Set up these, well, they're great services.
there's Starbucks on the floor,
Okay, we're gonna go back to order, and thank you for my moment. Okay, on to unfinished business. Consideration and possible action of opening the playground to public use. I have a statement to read from our legal. The Board of Trustees has the authority over all district property pursuant to Montana Code annotated 20-6-602. This includes playgrounds, and the board is authorized by law and policy to determine what, if any, parts of its property are available for public use. And you can see board policy 4332 for that. The board has not authorized public use of the playground and is not required to do so. In addition, there is no requirement that the public have access to district property purchased with ESSER funds. If a member of the public would like to propose opening up the playground for public use, that person can approach the board, but the decision remains that of the trustees. So there's our statement. Okay, so let's talk about the playground. So can you make the motion? The motion is consider and possible action of opening the playground to public use.
Okay, I would like to make a
But we have to have a motion before somebody can speak. Go ahead, Monica.
Okay, I'd like.
No, not yet. We have to have a motion on the floor. Thank you.
I'd like to, motion to open the playground up for public.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Sean. Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments or concerns about this item before we go to the public?
Have you guys looked into what the insurance would be, the cost?
Yes, there would be a rider for us, it wouldn't be in comprehensive, it wouldn't be outlandish.
Oh, it would be reasonable? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
MSGA.
Well, how is it gonna interfere with the locking of the gates? Public's access to that.
How will it interfere with the locking of the gates and public's access to that? Did I get the question correct?
There would be times when it's open to the public and then it would have to get closed and locked, certain times it would be closed. We have the signs already made up before it goes with it, like times of the gates would be locked, and custodians know that they would be responsible for locking the gates at the end of the night, at the end of the time.
So that means staff is gonna have to come back after hours to lock?
Well, not necessarily, because the custodians are here in the evening hours too.
Okay.
So it would be full within that time period.
Okay.
I just had a question, man, the reason I had, on that public playground, what is the access? I mean, I know well, I'll just tell you, when it came to a JV volleyball match, I don't know, what the week, so, I know it's getting darker earlier. But, that was locked up there, but is it completely secure around, because actually, I don't want to knock these boys out, but there were two boys that were in there, shooting hoops a little bit. And I was just wondering, maybe Jesse knows that, but is there a way to get in there without, I don't know how they got in there or whatever.
I am told a lot of kids, they climb over the fence.
They climbed the
It's not
fence.
razor wired, it's not electric.
Well, I'm not knocking them out, personally, I'm in favor of getting in there and shoot around while it's still light out, but, I was just wondering if the security fence was, for public safety was completely closed around the school, cause we don't want those kids climbing the fence either, cause they're gonna get hurt doing that, so.
We certainly aren't doing it during school hours. Cause it's being supervised.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah. Thea, would you like to share anything about playground use and the
Sure.
law? Thank you.
Sure, so the school district holds the property in trust for the public, that's the whole concept. This isn't public property in the same sense like a county or city building is, it's different. So the law in Montana is that the school board trustees are given the authority to determine what access the public has to the property, and that's the whole point of tonight. A lot of districts open up their playgrounds for public use if there isn't, or there aren't suitable other grounds for kids to play in, or they just wanna make sure that the public has access to it. There are things you have to think about, so you do have to get a rider for your insurance, and there has to be some kind of monitoring, so if there is, for example, vandalism or any kind of damage, or if students are getting hurt, they have to continue to monitor whether or not that use is still appropriate. But, so tonight there's a motion on the table to allow the public to use it, I think it's been seconded, and it sounds like the insurance is not a big deal, so it's just a question of the board making that decision. There was a lot of information floating around that was just flat out false, that the board legally has to open up their property to the public, that's not true. Courts in Montana have looked at that multiple times and shot that down. And there's actually language specific to schools about how the board holds that property in trust with the public. So that's why they're elected to make those decisions, and you guys come tonight and give them your thoughts about whether you want it, as a community, whether you want it open or not, and then they make a decision. So.
Does anyone else have any comments, questions about this before we vote on it? Wayne, do you wanna come back up here? So that's the way to get our steps in.
I couldn't hear some of that stuff back there anyway. I guess you guys have a motion on the table?
Yep, and it's been seconded, yep.
Okay. Well, a little history about that for me was, I was a proponent of, leaving the playground open to the public. You guys know that. Obviously, Kathleen was saying that, you know, it gets darker under now, you gotta have some sense to it, you know, you gotta close it up with, you know, kids out there too in the morning playing around. But if it's open and it's safe, I know that, I talked to a business owner, and it was my understanding, this is one of the things that, that playground's a pretty good playground, as I understand. They got chips down, you know, that's that soft landing thing. There's a code, I talked to your insurance guy too, but there's a code that they use to, you know, to see how safe your playground is, and I think Plains has a good one, from what I can see. And I think that was a combined effort of some volunteer labor, talking to Holland and those guys. They made it the safest, it's probably the safest playground in the whole community. I honestly, when they closed it up, the thing that bugged me the most was, I wanted to find out if, I didn't have a problem with them closing it, but it's like this lady here said, if they got public input, you know, if they talked to some of those businesses that help upgrade the playground, have those guys in here, see what their thoughts were in the community. But I spent hours looking through the minutes of board meetings and asked for that, and I could never find it. Where there was ever a motion made or a second made to close the playground. So I was scratching my head thinking, you know, how did this decision ever come to be? And I couldn't find anything. I found a little bit about some school safety stuff in the minutes and some stuff about the fence in the minutes. But I could never find anything where the public had a chance to, you know, put their public opinion in or say what they thought it should be. And I served on the board, and I would have no problem if the public came in and had their chance and gave their one too, and then the board said, nah, you know, it's just too much of a risk, we're gonna close it down. And that would be something I would accept, because that's the process, you know. You get public input, you talk to some of those business owners that donated stuff, you talk to some of the volunteers that came and, you know, helped upgrade the playground. And after you got all that public input in, and then you made that decision, maybe you guys, you know, maybe Kathleen found something about insurance and you said, no, we're not gonna do it. Then you live with that decision. But I just think it was a little premature to close it, because I could never find out anywhere in the board meetings where any public input was even sought on this issue, or where there was a motion made or a second made or anything. It was just, it's close. So, that was, I just wanted to give you the history of what I kinda went through with it.
I think he said that he missed part of what you said. So if you could remind him why we didn't have to have the community necessarily in that decision.
The default is it's closed. So, for it to be open, the board has to actually make a decision to open up property. So the default would always be that it's not open to the public, but districts go through decision-making processes like we're doing tonight in deciding whether or not they're going to have it open to the public. Because the board holds the property in trust, so that, like courts have said is that the property is not open to the public unless the board actually makes a decision to do so. So if for years it was just open and being used, that was probably because the board didn't do what they were supposed to do before, which was say, hey, this property isn't open. But what we're doing tonight is a good way to resolve that, which is let's have the conversation, board makes a decision, gets input from the public, and assuming everyone wants it open, then with whatever limitations the board puts on it, like a timing, like not after dark or whatever,
Right.
that's fine.
Yeah, all right, well, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Any other comment before we vote?
I have a question for you.
Come on up and state, wait till you get to the podium so they can see you and state your name, so Colleen can also get it.
Okay, my name is Shelby Schwal, and I'm just wondering, Dr. Walsh, I know you said that you have like the signs drawn up. Can you tell us what the hours would be if you were to open it?
Do we have the sign?
We have one most days in the office, I have to go to the office and get it.
Okay.
The school's not using it.
Okay,
When it's
so
not
like for
school,
the
you see,
after,
no,
after
they
school
have
program,
priority.
it would be after that.
School functions
Okay.
have priority.
Okay.
After the school, yes, absolutely, after your school program, your after school program stops, then it will be open.
Okay, cool.
But
Thank
I
you.
can show you that tomorrow, I'll have it, I'll have to give it to Ken, okay. Yeah, for the months of June and July, open at 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., weekends 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. August 1st, it's basically open when we're not in school.
Okay.
August 1st till 1 week prior of the start of school, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. For the months of September to June, closed due to school being in session and being used.
Okay.
Okay, does that answer it?
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Shelby. Thank you.
Any other comments before we vote? So the motion on the floor is to have the playground open to public use. So when we vote, that's what you're voting in A to.
Olga?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Lena?
Yes. Okay. That is done. Okay, new business, presentation of school safety protocols. And so for that, we have some specific rules and things. I'm gonna start with Bea. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna talk tonight about school safety stuff. What we cannot do is talk about individual students, individual staff members. If you have a very specific issue relating to something that you're upset about and it involves anyone else's child, frankly, you cannot bring it up tonight because we have obligations under Montana law with regard to individual rights of privacy. We are already a little bit behind the 8 ball on that because there have been some violations of individual rights of privacy already. So what I would ask you to do is please be mindful of that this evening so you don't incur any liability for the district or potentially for yourself, particularly if you are a staff member. So we're gonna talk, I guess, about, I think Kathleen's gonna start with what we do as a district. What I'm gonna tell you just briefly is that all school districts in Montana have obligations with regard to school safety. One of the things the legislature looked at in the last legislative session was requiring districts to, and actually in 2023 legislative session, was districts are required to have threat assessment teams. Your district has one. You actually have in place a solid process, and not a lot of districts are as advanced as you guys are. You have the threat assessment documents, you have the team set up, you have the process in place already. What we have to be careful with is the misinformation that flies from rumor spreading. That is gonna happen. I understand that when people get nervous about things going on, when they hear something, not always checking to see if it's actually accurate. But there is a lot of liability that comes to a school district when particularly staff members say things or do things, they're just not true. Not only does that disrupt your community, it creates circumstances where there will be liability for individual staff members and potentially the district for violating individual rights and privacy. So this is a global discussion of what security and safety looks like in your district, what you want it to look like, but please don't attempt to make this a discussion about someone's child. So.
Okay, Dr. Walsh.
So as I started to mention before earlier about, we do have a threat assessment team. I'm told by observers that it's been very comprehensive. We have a multidisciplinary, in that it's well represented by teachers, by administrators, by local law enforcement. We take everything, we have a threat assessment format that we follow, and and, we've gotten it from legal, so we know that all of the coaching points are very much addressed. Questions are asked, parents are interviewed, students are interviewed, teachers were interviewed. It was a very, 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 this is that important to spend the time, so we dedicate that time. And then the team, I'm gonna have Dr. Fettinger jump in a minute, and Mr. Meredith as well, if he wishes, on just what are some of the things when we do this team, what the training looked like. What it was a 2-day, 3-day training that the groups have gone. I went to one with some of the staff members, and then Dr. Fettinger went to another one with more staff members, so everybody hears the same thing and gets to understand the legalities of it. What, as Bea said, what's allowed, what's not allowed to be said. Do you just want to say what we've done as far as training on this threat assessment team?
So at the beginning of last school year, there was 5 of us who went down with Officer Geenan, and we were trained on how to develop a team and what to look for and how to run through a threat assessment. And so we came back to the school and we invited staff members to be a part of that team. So we ended up with a very large team, but it's kind of situation dependent. So it depends on what the situation is. If we want some members of the elementary staff there, or if we just want high school staff, it kind of depends on a specific incident that we're looking at. As a team in general, we met once a month and we looked at different documents and different forms and hypothetical scenarios of what we would do in case of. So we've met every single month until May. And then this last month, another group of us, there was 3 of us, who went down again, and it was a little bit different training, but it was kind of around school safety. And so at that training, we talked about a lot of cyber and internet incidences, you know, what you can do in case of, and it was just more information, a little bit tweaked from the first training. But again, all this information goes back to our team, and we'll use what we've learned and kind of build on what is best for our school, for our district, because all schools and districts are a little bit unique. And so we need to figure out as a team what we want and what we feel is best for Plains. So that's kind of what we've been doing.
And we're not discriminating, it's just the older children seem to get into more kinds of things than the babies in the elementary school. But we try to keep each other informed because collectively we serve the district. And I think that we have done a good job. The biggest difficulty we have is something that Mayor mentioned, and that's of confidentiality. There are things we cannot come out and say. There are things that we cannot share. And that's when we say things like, you know, it was not a credible threat. What does that mean? That's what it means. We've tested it, we've gone through it. I've had people for hours asking questions. We've asked questions for hours. Someone from one of our outsiders said, you know, I did 3 of these in other districts. They took 20 minutes, 40 minutes. I've been here 4 hours with you. I said, I'm not going to apologize for being thorough, because this is some mother and father's child. These are kids, this is school, these are staff members. You know, we as a team, the 3 of us for sure, have to be sure that the safety and well-being of everybody is included. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. People say, well, I want to know. Well, because I'm going to look out, I'm going to watch. Again, we have to protect the rights of everybody. And you know how it is. You say, oh, that's what's she doing there, what's he doing there. We have to follow rules, we have to follow regulations, and we have to have that confidentiality piece, which is very hard in a small town. I don't have to say a word and people, you would know it, right? And that's just the way it is. But it can't come from my mouth. It can't come from our mouths. We have to be sure we do the best we can to protect the children, the adults, everyone involved. I must say that the police department has been phenomenal support to us. When I call them right away, because we don't waste time, if I thought there was something, we call right away, they come right away, and they are very much actively engaged with us and very much a part of everything that we do. And they do their questioning, and it's very intense. When you leave there, you're drained. It's a very intense but necessary process that we follow. So that's not talking about the drills as was asked before, but this is in the event that there was a threat or a suspected threat. We take whoever it is, and if it's not founded, the committee says, and we've had school psychologists on the committee, guidance counselors, principals, teachers, general ed, special ed teachers, because that has to be that comprehensive. And that's where we are, and I'm very happy that when others look at us, say, wow, we're not there yet, we haven't done that much. You really seem to be on the ball and ahead of it. So, you know, I know there's worry, there's always, it's necessary, we worry every day we step out the door, unfortunately. And, you know, I could never forgive myself if something happened to a kid here. We're doing our best each and every day. And, you know, we have to work collectively, though. We have to trust each other. You know, we have to say something. Again, what used to be allowed in joking and comments and things are no longer allowed. You know, the words that, if I go to the airport and say, look, there's a bomb, I'm gone, right? Years ago, you might say that. Or a simple thing like, I'm gonna blow up your phone. Well, you know, it used to be, and I'm gonna call you a lot. But now we have to be careful with the language we use and what we say and who we say things to. You know, they were laughing at me because, you know, when we do these memos, I say, oh, make it a bullet point. I don't even say that anymore. I say, make it a point. Put a point there, put a period there. You get a little bit too much. But, you know what? It's the world we live in, and it's a very, very stressful one, but a very necessary one to take these precautions. And the problem that I find, or the concern that I find here, is it's different here. You never had to put up with this, and you're so lucky that you didn't have to put up with it for such a long period of time. But I tell you, all the training we've gone to, they say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So we have to be very, very on our toes and be careful and watch and be vigilant without making it a lockdown place. We have to keep the joy in school. We have to keep the connection and the empathy. We have to keep that. And it's hard. You know, we have staff members that are staff members and moms and dads, and they're in the school saving, you know, protecting other people's kids and their own. It's a very, very slippery slope, and I understand that. So I just want you to know that we are very much on point on what the safety and security is for our kids, and we're gonna stay that way, because that's what matters. The safety of the kids, the staff that's in the building, and everybody around. And the more we're gonna learn, and we're going to have sessions, we're gonna have it, hopefully at our PIR day, we're gonna have it made connected with MSU and their school safety council. We're gonna have legal come in and talk to staff and people about what are our legal obligations? What can we not do? What can we do? How far can we stretch? How much can we give? We've never had to explore that like to this degree before. But, you know, as the young lady who was up at the podium said before, look around us. It's happening all over, and we're not gonna get caught out in the cold. So the reason we've had the principals, and thank you to both of them for setting up the schedule of these kinds of drills that we're having. Everything from a bus drill to an evacuation drill to a lockdown drill. We're gonna be having them just about every month. Not because of anything happened, other than that's the law, we should be doing it. And that's a protection, and it familiarizes us with things so that, you know, it becomes second nature. Okay, let's go, we're gonna do this, not frighten kids and not scare children. It's a very scary thing anyway, but we want them to know where to go and how to do it and make it kind of like without thinking, so they do it automatically. Because we know if we keep it that way and children don't panic, we can do a better job of it. But again, it's a very horrible situation to even think that something could happen. But we have to give it our best, I was gonna say a word would be like shot. We're gonna give it our best attempt to make sure we protect everybody. And I'm saying that openly and honestly. And, you know, hopefully you'll trust our efforts. And again, the principals, thank you both for what you do each and every day, watching, being the eyes and ears on the floors, out in buses, all over the place, and the teachers as well. But, you know, sometimes the unsung heroes, you all are unsung heroes in many ways. And that's really what all I could say at this point.
So, hold on, I'd just like to thank Chief Josephson for coming. His support, we do work pretty well with him. You got like 2 minutes just to give a brief little, this is kind of what I do if Kathleen calls me.
He always picks up.
We appreciate his willingness to be here. Just a couple of minutes, we don't want to stress him, he's you know,
On his
probably
time.
off hours.
He's off hours. And he picks up the phone when I call.
That's right. So Brian Josephson, Plains PD. Just to reiterate, when the call comes in, we're here, my officers are informed immediately. Typically, if we can, we'll have 2 of us here to help, we'll do our investigation. We work closely with them, we do our interviews. Case reports are started, if there's charges to be filed, charges to be filed, so that's really about all I wanna say about it.
We haven't gotten to that point yet.
No. We appreciate that you come and that you do work so well with our school and that you guys are, guys are top notch.
Do you feel we do a thorough job?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We spend a lot of time making sure we're being thorough.
Thank you, and thank you for what you do for us.
Thank you.
More comment, super quick. I just wanna say, the reason we go through the drills is so we can work at all the kinks. So we are aware that the new gym fire drill bell doesn't work quite right, and our maintenance department is working with the fire chief.
Yeah, and Johnson Alarms.
Yes,
Alarm Company.
so we are aware and we are working on getting that fixed. So I just wanna clarify that.
Okay, now we're going to open this up for public comment. Again, we're gonna keep it within the rails. If it feels like you're going somewhere that legally would be a no-no, myself or Bea are going to stop you. Not because we don't like you, not because we're trying to be rude, but we are going to follow the law, period. Okay, so if anyone has any comment about the school safety protocols. Mary Jo, come on up.
Mary Jo Abbott. As you know, I work here at the school and I'm a mom. Just thinking about this, I have older children and then I have one in school now, and there would be a recommendation that I could give you is to educate children as well on what is acceptable and what isn't, because as you guys all just said, we're not used to this here. And a lot of our kids, even though they know it's wrong, maybe they don't know where the lines are, do you know what I mean? And I know that that doesn't make sense totally, but kids are so busy with their life of not this, right? And they need an opportunity for us to open that door to teach them what the boundaries are and make them very clear and work with school and parents together to strengthen that knowledge with the kids. I believe that that's necessary. Anyway, that would be my recommendation.
Thank you.
Hi, Danny Owens again. So, one of the things, having a high schooler, you hear the things that come home and you wait because you don't want to be the parent that calls and says, oh my gosh, I heard this is going on, what is happening? That being said, I do think that you guys need to work on clearer communication with parents, and I was hoping that you might be able to, maybe I'm just not aware of your protocols that you have. How are you going to inform us if there is something that comes up? I want to know what the protocols are to inform your teachers that maybe they have a student they need to be concerned about. Can you tell your teachers anything like that? No, I'm not bringing up students or anything like that, but are you able to? Okay. Okay.
That'd be against the law as well.
Okay, so,
Well, hang tight. So, I was thinking, because if we're gonna do a question and answer, that's gonna be, but this is comments, and I understand what you're saying. But there are times that the board, or the staff, actually not the board, does talk to teachers about individual students, but it's under very specific conditions, and there is huge confidentiality that goes with it. So you might have teachers in one building that don't know about a student in another building, and there is no way legally to tell teacher A about what's going on over here. And that's where schools get in trouble, is because staff start talking a lot and then we're outside of the law. So the protocol that I think you're referring to, like how the school's gonna inform folks, that is something I think Kathleen's either has or is working on. The parents will know exactly, here is what happens if there is a threat. I know you guys use the alert system, and we are subject to technology. So if the alert system isn't working, then we're looking at other ways of communicating. But the number one prospect, or number one way to do it is that alert system.
That makes sense. But I will also make comment that, to be a parent and hear these things coming home, I was patient, I waited. And then when we were notified via Facebook after 9 p.m. on a Friday night that there was a situation that was determined to be non-credible or whatnot, I don't think that was the best way to deliver that news to us parents. I feel like we should have been notified sooner that there was a possible situation. I realize you have to go through your investigation, but to be a parent who's just wondering if it's okay to let my kid go out the door and go to school, we went from Wednesday to Friday, knowing that, oh, my kid told me this and this and this, I'm not bringing it up, but, you know, is it gonna be okay to let my kid come to school that day? And I just didn't feel that the way that you guys communicated to us that there was a situation, potential situation, deemed non-credible, putting that on Facebook after 9 p.m. on a Friday, when your greatest posts, likeage and interaction looks like maybe 16 likes, was not a very good way to let us parents know that something had come up. So I would say that in the future, clearer, sooner communication would be better. So that's.
Can I
what
let her respond a little bit to that about why that happened?
That happened because Infinite Campus was down unexpectedly for us. And we really finished looking at everything Friday at about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
And the reason it went on, and I totally agree with you, the reason it went on Facebook and all that was because if we didn't put something out to tell parents something happened, they already knew what was, a lot of misinformation was out there. And then you wouldn't have heard anything from us till Monday.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was the lesser of two evils. The idea is just exactly what you said, and that's to have it on Infinite Campus and out to parent portal and the principals. That's what we all wanted, but we had nothing else at our hands to let you know something.
So maybe as far as like coming together, this could be, you know, somewhere where we could grow here. We could say, hey, if option A isn't working, then we have this foolproof plan. We have option B, and if option B isn't working, we can let parents know through C.
Right.
And if you do have that protocol, I think it would just be nice for us all to know what your plans are.
I think there's nothing wrong with what you just said. The fact is, we didn't even know that Infinite Campus was down when we went to do it. As the IT person told me, it was an scheduled, unexpected maintenance that they did. I totally agree with you, and definitely what you say, we will take into definitely
I
seriously.
definitely appreciate that, because it did seem a little bit fishy when all of a sudden, you know, like, oh, here finally, we're getting
Yeah, no,
news.
but the
We're
whole
getting
thing.
news and, oh, there's maintenance issues, and so.
But again,
we
yes.
weren't letting known on a regular channel. So, I
Definitely.
do wanna say that, you know, maybe having some other options.
Now that we know
notifying
that's a
us.
possibility that
Read a
Infinite
thing.
Campus will be down, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
You're
you for
right.
taking that.
You're right.
And I would like to announce, if you are afraid of sending your child to school, you should always call administration and ask, and we won't open the doors if we think there's a safety to your child.
I appreciate
This is common
that.
sense, right?
Right, I was just being a little dramatic.
Any other public comment on this agenda item? Come on down. Oh, we got two, okay. So he's coming down the stairs behind you.
Being followed?
Yeah, you are being followed.
My name is Ann Siebert, and we are new this year to the district. We come from Southeast Wyoming, where I think we've had kids in schools in some capacity for the last, 13 years or something like that. And every school that our kids have been in, it has been in a school starts, doors are locked down, and I see that as the first week or two our kids were here, I brought it up that I could just walk right into the school, and it floored me. And my kid said, yeah, and here and here and here are where all the doors are open. So, huge concern in some ways for us. As a former foster and adoptive parent, knowing that in my former schools, my kids knew exactly who was allowed to be in connection or contact with those students was huge. In this situation, I don't know as a foster or adoptive parent that I could be feeling safe, that I wouldn't have someone that was a threat from their past walk in the door. Huge concern to me. And then also as a former sub, I also walked in thinking, man, as a sub, would I even feel safe? Because I don't know where the doors are open, where they're locked. I feel as if anybody could potentially just walk right in. And again, in my former school when I subbed, I knew exactly what doors were open and which ones were on lockdown and which ones I could key in or had access to and which ones I didn't. And I think as students, I could be completely wrong, but I feel as students, the kids just know. The school is safe, the school is locked down. You may have to wait a second if you have to be, I'm gonna say rung in or something like that, if they leave one part of a building to go through. But I think they very quickly get used to it. I think, speaking from some of my older kids' experiences, they felt much safer knowing that they we're in a contained and lockdown school. As a parent, I felt safer, and it was not, I worry about you, Catherine, though, because I don't know how we're gonna make another Catherine to buzz people in and out, but, I just wanna encourage you to lock things down and, know who's in and out of your building.
Yes.
And, thank you for taking measures that you will be taking in the future.
Yes, thank you.
My name's Austin Turner, I'm a coach and father, so I don't have the answers. There's not a good answer, but there are a couple of things that concern me that I really think you guys should think about, and I'm sure you have. But, you know, I feel the threat to a school issue could come from within and not from outside. So all the lockdown stuff, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but I just want you guys to think about that, and you may already have, that the threat's gonna come from within. So I don't necessarily want all the doors locked and my kids in with that threat. You know, that's a big thing. And then the other thing, and I don't know how to do this, I hate coming to somebody with a problem without an answer, but I want the option, when something happens at this school, that I make the decision whether my kid stays in this building or not.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know the correct way to let everybody know, but as a coach and as a dad, I'm very protective. You know, I try to help all my students with their grades and their safety and, you know, their mannerism, all kinds of stuff. But as a dad, I'm a provider and a protector, and I want the option of whether my kid stays in this school when there's an issue. I don't want somebody else, you know, I'm a medical provider. You guys could come to me and I could say, Glenn, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. You're gonna die. You know?
Thanks a lot.
Exactly. You're not gonna say, okay, well, put me down, you know, Austin, you know, I'm done. You're gonna say, this guy's crazy, I want a second opinion. You know? I don't want somebody saying, you know, even as a coach, if something goes on, you know, all those kids' safety are in my hands until I pass them off to their parents. You know, at an away game, I don't let a kid go with anybody. I have to see the parent, they have to sign that kid out, you know, I have to sign that kid out. I don't want somebody making a judgment call for me and my kids. You know, I just don't think that's right. If there's something going on, I don't know the best way to do it, but I would like to be notified. Hey, Austin, something's going on, we can't tell you, but if you wanna come get your kiddos, come get them. So I don't know what that answer is, but I would love for that to be considered.
I would think that if something was actually going on, we would certainly be informing people. We haven't had to do it yet, we
But-
haven't actually hit anything yet.
But I guess my question is if that's coming from within, you know, I don't know. You know, just the other day with the whole Facebook thing, I didn't feel very, you know, I've got a lot of faith in Mr. Meredith, you know, but he can only do so much. You know, there's 400 kids here to protect. If he had to sacrifice himself to save a kid, I feel he'd do it in a blink of an eye. You know, I just want the option to protect my kid, and whether I leave him in school or not, you know, and anyway, I don't know what that looks like, but if that could somehow be figured out, it would be great, I think, just for parents to have an option. Something's going on, we're addressing it, we think that everything's safe, but if you'd like to come get your kid for the day, keep them home a day or two till things cool off, and that's an option we should have. So, thanks.
Luke Paceman here. Just to kind of add on to what everybody's saying.
What was your name again?
Luke Paceman.
Thank you, Mr. President.
If we could, it's nice to be in a small town where all three of the schools can all be connected, but, you know, I have a daughter in elementary school, and I don't know how well the barriers are between those, but her having to deal with the same kind of things that high school kids are and everything, I think having a locked door and a click-in system between the different areas might kind of help, but there's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Erica Lawyer, I think you've had great suggestions. Larry Joe, you took the words out of my mouth. I think we have to educate kids on what's appropriate and what isn't anymore. Like Meet the Fockers, you can't get on the plane and say bomb, 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 bomb without consequences and accountability, right? I think our kids need to understand what's acceptable and what isn't. And I was talking about accountability to Dr. Fettinger Saturday morning at work. We have to start, teaching our kids what's acceptable and then holding them accountable to that. And sometimes those lessons are harder than others. I think you've had some great advice here. My boys graduated here from quite a while ago and they played a game. If it was the Hunger Games, which teachers would end up still here? There's some teachers in this room who they were like, yep, my money's on, and and they're like, and that's the classroom I'm going to. As stuff goes down, I'm going here, there, and everywhere. I have no doubt that the teachers in this room would not do anything it took to protect the children in their care. I have no doubt about that. I've grown up with some of these people. I've graduated 2 boys and my 3rd one's on the way. I will tell you that before my school board term ended, I sat through a seminar that was moving, to say the least. And it was a gentleman who specialized in school security and walked us through a mass shooting in Michigan, from very start to very finish, where they were replacing carpet and repainting the walls because there was so much PTSD to bring those kids back. If any of you as board members have the opportunity to go to those school board trainings and sit in on one of those, I highly suggest you go to those tracks and listen to what they have to say, because it's part of your MTSBA dues. Go sit through one of them, and there's some really stupid, easy, low-cost, effective ways that you can try to curtail it, and then there's the unthinkable. And I think as board members, this is now bubbled up to where it's a strong concern by a lot of people in our community, and I think whatever education you can give yourselves in as many different venues as you can. This gentleman was ex-Secret Service. He was a wealth of information. Montana School Board has those venues out there. I would pay dues. I would strongly urge you to try to take as many of those things as you can into consideration and listen to the people that have elected you that have those concerns about. Let's start holding our kids accountable about, you don't get to bring these items to school and there's consequences. You don't get to say this in school and there's consequences, and really have some teeth in them. So, not an easy job, but I think you have great input here, so I hope that it can all get cycled in.
Danielle Pequay, substitute teacher, mother. So right now, we are discussing what happens if it gets secure. What are we doing about when it's this level? When it's because somebody's being picked on, when somebody's being bullied? I don't put up with it, but I can only be with so many students at one time. And I know a lot of teachers don't, but we can't hear everything, we can't see everything. But if we see that to the point where, hey, this is an actual problem, a piece of paper that's a refocus for bullying is not cutting it. Sometimes being pulled out in class is not cutting it. Now technology, how many of your kids have cell phones? My kid doesn't, and that's totally fine by me. I have no problem with that. But so many, even young kids have cell phones, and you don't have just bullying face to face. You have it quietly, where nobody else hears it, nobody else sees it, but that kid. So, we are thinking about this threat level. Why are we not, or what do we have situated, trying to figure out for this threat level? And bullying has been around for ever. I survived it, but that's a harsh reality of kids and people in general. Really, people in general. So I think kind of this situation needs to be addressed as well. And parents talk to their children. I agree with that. Parents talk to their children too, and maybe stop it here so we don't have to worry about this, type of situation. Yes, thank you.
Any other public comment on this agenda item? Okay. So Thank you to everyone who came and participated in the safety protocol conversation. I appreciate that. Okay, consideration and possible action on the approval of a scaled score of 700 or lower to be adopted as the score threshold for accepting 4-year-old students in the early learning program for the 25-26 school year. So I would entertain a motion.
Okay, I motion that we approve, the scale of 700 or lower to be adopted as the threshold for accepting 4-year-old students in the 25-26 school year.
So a second? A second. Okay, you want to speak to this for a minute?
Yeah,
It's all
sure
for-
can. So this year is the first year that we have regularly attending 4-year-old students in an early learning program. We have 10 of them. There are a number of requirements and things that the state of Montana put into place to have a program in the public school system. And one of them is to, each year, the district has to designate what their score threshold is in order to enroll students. It's considered an early literacy program. They're working on an early numeracy program, so there'll probably be protocols for that in the future, I would guess. And so what we do is we assess each one of those possibly incoming registered early learning students, preschool students. And if they are if they are 700 or below, then we can accept them. We have 10 students already in our school and in our program. This needed to be done before the school year ended. So we decided to do it now versus the end of the school year. In the future, we will try to do this in August. I did speak with OPI, they had said it would be best for you to get it done before the end of October. So,
Here we are.
so that's what we're doing now, yeah.
Here we are, end of October.
Makes sense, okay. Any comments on this particular agenda item?
I just have a question.
Oh, up to the podium. Sorry, I know, stating our name is fun.
It's hard getting up there. Shelby Schwall again. I know you said the scaled score of 700 or lower. Can you tell me what it was for this year? Was it different than 700 or lower?
So
And like, what exactly does that mean?
if we were to adopt 700 or lower, and the assessment that we use is the early literacy program in Renaissance, which is the program that actually all of our K through 12 students actually
And
take
it's
the
approved by OPI.
STAR assessment, and it is fully approved. OPI actually has a list of the assessment programs that you can use, and the early literacy program through Renaissance is one of them. If we adopt 700 or lower for this year, then all of the students that are currently attending will still be allowed to attend.
Okay, and then, like, for going forward next year, like, I don't know how to put it
Yeah, it's entirely
into
possible,
words.
I would say entirely likely that the score could be different for next year. Our goal is to enroll 10 students.
Okay, but like, I'm just trying to picture it on like a scale of 700, like, is that the lower end, like the higher need, you know, or, like, where is a 700?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know what 700 means.
Yeah, I'd have to bring the whole chart and the breakdown of it. 700 for a preschool student is not overly low.
Okay.
No, it is not. I wouldn't say they're not reading.
Right.
But it's not low, no,
Okay.
it's not. This is a pretty.
I think it's fair.
This is a pretty
Right.
fair, yeah, I would say
So
fair.
it's not
and
really
maybe
any
even a little
different
higher
than where it
what you would
was.
anticipate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we just have to clarify it. That was one of the stipulations that we had from OPI to have the
Right.
program, make it very clear, and the district had the freedom
Right.
to look it over as he did and look at it and choose it and say it at this point. But like Mr. Meredith said, it's kind of fluid, so when we look at it and we move forward, we'll be able to adapt it to serve the children. That's really what the purpose is.
Right.
At least for 4-year-olds starting.
Yeah.
Getting them in the door.
Right, thank you.
Any other comments on this agenda item? ready.
Monica?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay. Consideration and possible action to approve an MOA for third-party mental health therapist, Tammy Alexander. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve, a third-party mental health therapist, Tammy Alexander.
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions, comments about this agenda item from the board? Oh, yep.
I would just like to say that, Ms. Alexander would be coming here every Wednesday. She'd be on site for a full day on Wednesday, every week. That would be 4 things, and it would be, she's independent, so therefore she will be serving and taking and engaging with parents and outside of our school. She's an independent therapist who would at least be working with our kids. And that would be someone, every week we'd have someone in to assist the principals and the teachers and the guidance counselors that we already have. So anything we can get that will help strengthen mental health services, I think is very important.
And I would just like to comment that this is something I've been doing in Trout Creek for 11 years now, and Hot Springs has had therapists there for a long time, doing it as an outpatient therapist. It really does help support the school. It costs the school nothing. They offer them a space, and the therapist does their billing, so it brings support to students without costing the district money, which is important. See, it's not to the-
I just have a question about what students will they be able to service? Just the ones that have insurance?
That will be between the therapist and the families.
Because that's always been the problem with a lot of the mental health programs.
I don't think we've ever had this in Plains, so Plains has never had to transition through that. And every therapist will do it differently.
I hope it's so that all the kids can be served.
There will be probably time limits. She's only here 1 day a week, so, and it will be based on parent permission. Okay, we're ready?
Yes. Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes. Yes. Consideration and possible action to approve an MOU to assist in Medicaid billing for all qualifying services. And I would entertain a motion for that.
I move to approve an MOU to assist in Medicaid billing for all qualifying services.
I'll second. Any comments on this agenda item or questions?
Who are we entering into this MOU with?
This would be with the co-op. They do a flat fee for the year to help us get through and get on point with Medicaid billing, so that we, especially with the new laws and the changes that have taken place, so that we'll be able to straighten, just get on a path that we can just follow in the future, that will let us maximize what we can get for the services that the school and the teachers and everyone gives.
Think we're ready?
Robert?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Financial report from the Booster Club. I thought I'd seen it at some point. We don't have to vote on it, we just informational. Let me see. Here it is. Second packet. So this is just so that we're aware of the Booster Club. We don't have to make any votes on it or anything. Okay. Everyone has been made aware of the financials. You guys all have it? Okay, perfect. Okay, personnel consideration for approval. School nurse hire Robin Lewis.
I move we hire Robin Lewis as our new school nurse.
I second. Any questions on this agenda item? Comments?
I'm just gonna say really, really happy that we're hiring a school nurse, so thank you, Robin, for applying. Can I just, so I'm not gonna waste everybody's time, because my quick comments are gonna get all the hires. Can I do that right now, or do I have to come back each time?
I think each time you have to come up with a comment.
Okay, because we have some, we can't talk about kids, but we have kids that need the nurse more than others. As part of her job here, will she be able to help assist those students specifically as part of her day job? We were using the school, the hospital, nurses were coming over to assist us while we didn't have a school nurse. I was hoping that, Robin will be able to continue in that role. So I've been very, very unhappy that we have not had a permanent nurse for 9 weeks, well, 8 weeks, I guess. So I'm super happy, yay, we're moving forward, but, I guess I'm just hopeful that.
I'm super, super happy that we got this nurse who is well versed in many and varied particulars of pediatric nursing, emergency nursing, in institutional facilities, outside of institutional facilities. She will tend to the needs. She understands the scope of the needs of our students.
Right.
And she'll be able to help us, and I do believe we're gonna learn a lot.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have her. Like I said, especially as a PE teacher and as a elementary special ed teacher, I've been very disappointed that we have taken so long to find a nurse. I'm sure there's background checks and all of that, so I know there's
It's
lots
hard to get people, it's hard to get good people, and we've been very fortunate because of the good work that you and your colleagues do, that we're able to bring in people who say, yeah, I wanna go there, I'll try that.
So I'm really happy, and I just wanna, acknowledge our paraprofessionals, Catherine and Mr. Meredith, because they took on the role of doing the job while the school nurse was not here. And I mean, Mr. Meredith, one time, he was covering for a para that was not hired, and he got a phone call, the nurse was needed, he was gone, boom, like that. And he took care of the situation, so I think we'll all breathe a sigh of relief, Catherine probably too. So I just wanna acknowledge all the people that have covered, because I don't think you guys realize how much Mr. Meredith and Catherine have been doing without a school nurse. I mean, they are wearing way too many hats, so I just wanted to acknowledge that tonight.
Leave those hats off, because they don't listen.
I will.
Okay? I just want, they don't leave those hats off so willingly, but please encourage them to.
Oh, Gina Ferlin, I forgot to say that.
I think we're ready to vote.
I'm sorry, that was Monica and Robert.
Monica and Colleen.
Monica?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, she's here? She's here. Robin Lewis is here?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's here.
stand up and say hi.
Now you know who to go to.
Okay, para hire, Tiana McGonigal. Entertain a motion for that?
Is she here? No.
I move we hire Tiana McGonigal as a para hire.
I'll second.
Any comment on this agenda item?
Hi, Gina Ferlin. There was a lot of topics on the public participation, but again, the next 3 hires and school nurse, I've been very frustrated for 8 weeks that we have not hired someone. I don't know if you realize how hard it is to get kids' routines down. And if we are changing substitute teachers, which they are amazing, by the way, I mean, top notch. They come in, they get the schedule, and then they're supposed to be teaching within 5 minutes, because they just walked in the door. And then, here, memorize your schedule and run 20 different places. I urge any of you to sign up for, be a substitute teacher, even if you just do it once, just to understand how this building works. So, I'm so happy that we're hiring. Again, I guess what I'm really saying is I'm happy they're here. Again, I want to acknowledge Mr. Meredith and Catherine and all the people who had to, my whole special ed team, all the paraprofessionals, all the substitutes. We were running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to keep things going. And we tried to do it flawlessly because we didn't want the kids to feel it. I think we did an okay job, but I'm just really grateful that we are hiring. I wish that we could have pushed it through a little bit faster, because 8 weeks of, it's just not good for the kids, and that's why we're here. So, again, I'm trying to stay positive. I know there are things out of our control, but maybe if this happens again next year, if we know that there are jobs that are going to be vacant, maybe advertising in June, so we have 3 months to hire, not 2 weeks before school starts, and then wait 8 weeks to wait for the fingerprints and the background checks and the interviews. Just in the future, I just think, I'm sure you're all thinking the same thing. I don't want to be redundant. I do appreciate everything everyone's doing, but I'll be so happy to get them in there and have it get smooth sailing. Transitions, the lunchroom, we have so many holes, and we're gonna burn the Mr. Merediths and the Catherines and all the other people, we're gonna burn them out, because they're putting on too many hats. So anyway, I won't come up every time, now you've heard me, thank you.
Monica? Yes. Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Para hire Lacey Morrison.
I move we hire Lacey Morrison as a para hire.
I'll second.
Any comments on this agenda item? Okay.
Monica?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay, part-time para hire, Danielle Paquette. Yay, she's here, okay.
I move that we hire, Danielle Paquet as a part-time para.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions on this agenda item?
Is part-time only mean 2 days a week, or what is part-time, am I allowed to ask that?
You asked me?
I don't know.
I would think you're allowed to know what the position is, yeah. Kevin? Do you? Dr. Walsh?
Dr. Walsh, would you like to take this, or would you like me?
And it's a part-time, going to try to get 2 part-times. You know, I understand what you're saying about the 8 weeks, and part of our biggest problem is trying to find candidates. You know, so that's another thing that was troublesome in filling it. And then again, as you said, with fingerprinting and dot. So, and Kevin and Heidi did a really good job at trying to find and talk with people. So this one, I believe this is the 2-day, correct, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
And then we hopefully have someone coming on the other 3 days.
Okay, so we have the lead on a, cause because the way it's been running para, it's para 1, para 2, para 3, those have been the subs roles when they come in. So they get their thing, they don't know if they're para 1, para 2, or para 3. I don't know what para 1, para 2, or para 3 is, and I'm like, which one are you? When they come in, so it's been kind of a hot mess, and we do, like I said, we've been doing our best, so I'm excited that Danielle's part-time, I wish she was full-time.
I know.
And I guess what I wanna request is if you do have a lead on that other person that'll fill the 3 days, if we can maybe have a special board meeting and get them in ASAP, if possible, just, again, the flow. Anyone who's lived in the lunchroom, if you are off by 5 minutes, it disrupts everyone, because everyone eats in the same lunchroom. And if we don't pick them up from specials on time, they don't wash their hands on time, then it just is a domino effect, affects everything. So I guess I'm just hoping that if we do have someone, they have all their ducks in a row, if we could have a special board meeting, get a full staff and get us hired in there. So then I think this time, who knows, I might come back, I won't say anything.
Any other comments on this agenda item? Okay.
Monica?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay, substitute hire, Jolynn Hanson. She was here with the chief, but I think she was in uniform, I think, so.
I move we hire Jolynn Hanson as a substitute.
I'll second.
Comments or questions about this agenda item? Okay.
Monica?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana?
Yes. Okay, Kim Lacko and Cindy Gum as advisors to the National Honor Society.
I move we hire Kim Lacko and Cindy Gum as advisors to the National Honor Society.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions on this agenda item?
I just want to comment. Neither one of those teachers are going to accept the stipend. They're going to put it right back to the program. So they're doing it purely just for the sake of the school and the students. Nice.
Very nice. I wonder if one staff can do that.
Just make sure we get the board here right.
Monica?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Colleen?
Yes.
Lana? Lana.
Yes. On behalf of the board, I know they're not here, but thank you guys for doing that, for free and giving the money back to the school and to the kids. It's exciting. Okay, junior high girls basketball coach hires Chad Revere and Jack Revere.
I move we hire Chad Revere and Jack Revere for the junior high basketball girls.
I'll second.
Questions or comments on this agenda item?
Monica,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Lana.
Yes. Junior high boys basketball coach hire Austin Turner.
I move we hire Austin Turner as the junior high basketball coach.
I'll second as well.
Comments or questions on this agenda item?
Monica,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Lana.
Yes. Thank you, Austin, for
You have to fly
coaching.
down now, you have to jump down and show us.
You slam dunk the ball. High school girls basketball volunteer assistant coach Alexis McComas.
I move that we hire Alexis McComas as the high school basketball volunteer assistant coach.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments on this agenda item?
Monica,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Lana.
Yes. And just a heads up, one thing that our administration and board has been very excited about and advancing is community engagement. And you hear us talk a lot about the things we do to include the community, whether it's trunk or treat, super senior prom, Saturday coffees with the superintendent on Saturdays. If you've never gone, you should. A couple years ago, we were able to do the strategic planning. In that same vein, we as a board want to continue moving forward with community engagement. It has been a centerpiece of this administration, and this board really supports that. So the next month or two, you'll be hearing about some more meetings and things coming up to sort of continue to add on to what we've done with the strategic plan. And we would encourage all of you guys to participate, so we'll make sure to keep you guys abreast of that. Okay. All right, we're adjourned at 7:07. Thanks, Colleen.
Thanks, Colleen.
I know. Oh, yeah, I know. I guess they are.
I put a shirt.
It's gonna be